Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. Mayor Smith is out of town, and he is sorry to be missing this. I'll try to find the statement to read from him when we get to the number 7 and 8 on the agenda. There are a couple of announcements. There was a check over $25,000. Brenda can explain that. It was,
I can explain that.
Oh, yes, thank you, Mary.
$90,000 check.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the village's payment to buy the lot at the end of Hummage, to buy the 3.5 acres at the end of Hummage Road.
right.
We
Okay.
closed on that 2 weeks ago.
The second announcement, actually, announcement B and C, both relate to public hearings that will be held on March 6th, which is our next meeting of the board here. And the first public hearing, I will read the explanation of that. Public hearing to consider a local law amending Chapter 9, Board of Architectural Review, of the Village Code with respect to demolition of a substantial portion of a building in the Historic Overlay District. Marianne, did you want to explain a little bit about that? The
I
public
did it
hearing
in
will
the
be at the
previous
next
meeting, but for people who didn't hear it, there was an amendment to the regulations for demolition of a contributing building in the historic district. The regulations about demolition that the board enacted about 2 years ago now require ARB approval of any demolition. They're really exacting standards to approve the entire demolition of a building, but those standards don't apply when the ARB is reviewing only a partial demolition. And under the statute, a demolition is defined as destroying all or a substantial portion of a building. And substantial portion of a building is defined as, 50% of the footprint, but any portion of an exterior wall, porch, or portico facing a street. So if you were taking down your front porch, that would be considered a demolition under the code. So with this, so if somebody comes in and want to tear down this porch, it doesn't make sense for them to provide the information that's required for tearing down a building, like getting, bringing in appraisals, offers to sell the property, things like that. So this amendment fills that hole and it gives the ARB a standard for a demolition that's only part of a building. And that standard is that where the demolition is of a substantial portion of the building, rather than of the entire building, the applicant must demonstrate that the demolition and its proposed replacement, if any, will not be incompatible with the historic character of the building nor of the historic district. It also modifies somewhat the submissions. These were based on requests by the ARB that they have photos of the building in its existing condition and photos of the buildings adjacent. And then it also provides that the ARB can waive any provision of the other information if it deems it's not necessary, much as it's not necessary. And then it also, there's a provision about the replacement plan that wasn't exactly precise, and that's been clarified.
So that public hearing is at our next meeting. Also at our next meeting, there's a public hearing to consider a local law amending Chapter 213 of the Village Code, Vehicles and Traffic, with respect to parking in the municipal parking lot on the north side of Hudson Road West. Do you want to say a couple things about that?
That would just change sorry, I thought Larry was going to be here.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, here it is. I think essentially, I drafted it, I just don't remember. Yeah, what it does is it changes, there was a 6-hour limit on parking there, and it's been changed to 3 hours, unless you've got a special permit.
Okay, so that public hearing will also be that day.
I'll just need a resolution.
Excuse me?
A resolution to have the public hearing.
No,
We don't need it, no, we're not having it now.
all right.
We're just announcing,
Beginning.
yeah.
Just an announcement.
So the public hearing is, I know you went upstairs, but the public hearing is on March 6th for that, right? Okay. So we don't have to announce it in any other way except that I just read it.
Yeah, and then it'll get published in the,
Yeah.
the papers and, you know, posted in the usual spots and on the village website.
Okay. Changing the subject, there's another announcement about the Sleepy Hollow St. Patrick's Day Parade, which is on March 12th, 1:30 to 3. Now, I know Mayor Smith always goes, and others are welcome. Don Mara came here to the board, I think, to discuss that a couple meetings ago. So if you want any more details on that, it starts at 1:30 on Main Street in Tarrytown, marching north on Route 9 to Beekman Avenue in Sleepy Hollow. The line starts at 1:15. I was going to make another quick announcement. If you haven't seen these or know what these are, these are for walking at night or being out at night, reflectors that are now available both in Village Hall, at the rec department, and in the police department. They're free, and yeah, they're really, I think it's Alice B. Cohn who organized this, and they're, given to the village from Phelps Hospital. So we're very happy to have it. So spread the word for people to stop and pick them up until supplies run out, I guess.
So kind of add two things related to that. If I may
Okay,
take a
other
moment.
announcements from Mark.
Related, more AV. So
Mhm.
as part of that, just remember, we're trying to focus on pedestrian safety. That's a pedestrian safety device, obviously. We have these bumper stickers, we have posters, we have other things available in Village Hall. And for those folks with middle school and high school age children, we're going to be having our second annual Walk Safe PSA video contest. Probably all the details will be announced by April. I'm hoping April 1st seems like a good day. And then I think on Father's Day during Irvington Day,
Celebrate Irvington.
celebrate
Father's Day.
Father's Day, yes, we're going to be announcing the winner like we did last year, or the winners. And the other thing I wanted to mention was to keep an eye out in the next couple of months in your water bill. There's going to be a pamphlet coming out about being water wise and conserving water. And it's got some useful information, and then it's got some interesting things you can do, kind of just done as little iconographic reminders of what you can do to, and then stuff you can do on your irrigation system. The reason why irrigation system gets its own panel is because in most cases, in residential bills, like in Irvington, the irrigation really amounts to doubling your bill during the summer. So it's like really important for people to get on top of how to reduce their water usage. Not only is it good for the community and for our region, but it's also good for your pocketbook. So keep an eye out. I guess they'll come out in the water bills, so 1/3 of the community will get them each month for the next few months. And that's my AV. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else here have another important announcement? Okay, I'll just do a little FYI for something that will be discussed also on the March 6th meeting. And that relates to the issue of immigration enforcement and discrimination. We will be discussing a third piece of a resolution, and that one won't be discussed tonight. There will be two, as you see, it's number 7 and 8. Those two resolutions we will be discussing tonight, but the third one, which, is an important one and something that we're working on, but that one is not on the agenda for tonight.
That's the Irvington policies.
Irvington policies, yes,
Yes, okay.
right.
Just to be clear.
Yep. I'm going to, we have one correspondence from Kathy Kaufman. Kathy, do you want me to just summarize it, or do you want to
Sure.
Okay, since you're here. Okay, so this was from Kathy, following up on a discussion we had at a previous meeting. And I'll say, as I mentioned at the public comment on this 2/6/2017 Board of Trustees meeting, I believe that modernizing the Irvington Police Department's record-keeping system is an essential step for our village. At present, it's my understanding that the Irvington Police Department does not collect any data on police stops that do not result in a citation or arrest. Nor does the police department collect most of the data points necessary to ensure unbiased policing, such as race, ethnicity, age, and sex of those stopped, and whether those individuals were searched or subsequently charged. Therefore, I'm formally requesting that the village schedule a public discussion on policies and practices related to the police department data collection as soon as feasible. Kathy goes on to give some reasons for her request and also some references that are available online related to that. One is related to the stop and frisk abuses. Thank you for your letter. The next.
Have we set anything up about that yet, or have we talked to Brian about it?
I don't think we have, so
So it'll probably be a work session coming up, I imagine.
guess we'll figure out, in what manner it gets discussed, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna switch quickly to consent.
Do I need to like check back, or how does that?
We, usually there is a response by the village administrator to every letter that comes in.
Is the whole letter going to be read, or?
It is available on the backup of the line. It's nothing, it's just a letter. It's nothing that we have made any, I can read the whole thing if you like. We don't, and it's also online on the public website.
Whatever you think.
Okay, so anyone who wants to read the entire letter, it's there, and Kathy will get a response from the village administrator. We're not discussing that tonight at all. Then there is public comment next, but I'm going to go quickly to the consent agenda and then come back to public comment. The consent agenda is, does anybody want to discuss anything about the budget transfers and modifications? Or should we just do consent?
Just do consent.
Okay, you don't need to
It's
explain
pretty
it.
clear.
Everybody's happy with it. Okay. I'll make a motion to accept the consent agreement, the consent agenda. Does anyone want to second that?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
All right.
Okay. Now.
Mary, did you ask for public comment?
I'm just going back to it. I said I was moving that around, so the public comment is closer to the two resolutions. The next two resolutions, I think some of the comments are related to that. And as I said, one is in support of the Westchester County Legislative Immigration Protection Act, and the other is related to issuing driver's license to New York State residents. So if there's any public comment or public comment about that, please feel free.
Okay.
Thank you.
To do the short people thing. My name is Marian Asmus, and I live at 85 Harriman Road in Irvington. I would like to express my appreciation and support for the Board of Trustees in taking action on the various proposals to create new policies concerning protecting undocumented individuals in Irvington. A group of Irvington residents presented several ideas on February 6th. We believe that these policies and ideas will give our police officers and village staff more freedom to pursue village duties, as well as the ability to foster better relationships with everyone in the village. I want to strongly endorse the resolution that supports the issuance of driver's licenses to New York State residents, regardless of immigration status. Although this decision ultimately rests with the state, we believe that it is valuable for our town, like many others, to go on record to say that we believe in this. Obtaining driver's license will mean that undocumented immigrants, like citizens of the state, will be required to learn traffic laws, pass a driving test, and carry insurance. This is good for all of our safety. In addition, I want to endorse another resolution that encourages Westchester County Police to refrain from inquiring about immigration status in the course of everyday activities or when and to refrain from arresting individuals based on immigration status and from honoring so-called civil detainer requests from the Federal Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE. Obviously, there would be exceptions in regard to terrorist or felonious activity, but we believe that this will do a lot to foster better relationships with all the people who live in Westchester and to enable those people who are worried about their status to come forward when they have been the victims or have witnessed a crime. In light of recent news about proposals for travel bans, deportations, and even registries, I personally believe that these legislative actions will go a long way to make residents, workers, and travelers in Irvington feel more welcome and secure, and are a true expression of the value of inclusion that makes America great. Thank you.
Public comment? Someone else?
My name is Tom Thacker. I live at 14 North Blackout Street, and I echo exactly what Marion said, but I also just wanted to express my gratitude to the village board and to the mayor, who's not present, for taking the concerns that a number of residents raised so seriously and working very, very quickly to affect both the resolutions and eventually the policy that will allow the police to understand very clearly how they go about enforcing the law. So I'm really deeply appreciative, as I know many, many others who are not here tonight for whatever reason. And we look forward to the passage of both these resolutions this evening and then the passage of the policy, which will, I know, be brought up on March 6th. So thank you to the board.
Thank you, Tom. Public comment? Anybody else?
I'm Kevin Weber, 19 Jaffrey, and I've never gotten up to speak, and I'm very happy to support the leadership from the board and others for this resolution proposed, and I'm proud of Irvington. Thank you.
Samir Rosenblum from Parkside Way. I'd just like to echo the sentiments of the others who just spoke, and really do appreciate and the board's quick action on this. It's really gratifying. Thank you.
Okay, any other public comments?
Yes, one more.
Okay.
Hey, Kathy Cochran, 78 Becker Street, and I also wanted to just say thank you so much. I'm so proud of the village this month, and it meant a huge amount to me to feel like we live in a welcoming village, and that we're going to work hard to protect everybody who comes in and out. So thank you.
Public comment? Wow.
Hi, just in the nick of time. Hi.
Yes.
I'm Jennifer Friedman, and I was here a couple weeks ago. I introduced myself, and I am an Irvington resident. I just wanted to first say how deeply I appreciate how receptive the board has been to the proposals that we have brought forward in regard to protecting immigrants, and it really has made me proud to live here, and I felt really happy about that. I just wanted to reiterate that when I'd introduced myself before, I talked about being the managing director of the Legal Center at My Sister's Place, which is a local organization that represents domestic violence victims and human trafficking victims, and in particular, a large number of immigrants, and talked about the fear that our clients have been experiencing. And even just in the past couple of weeks since I was last here, and in particular this morning, we actually had an all-staff meeting where our staff is just beside themselves with phones literally ringing off the hook with clients calling us desperate to understand what to do. And we are at the point of advising people how to construct safety plans so that they have guardianship plans, so that should they suddenly be swept up and put into detention and potentially put into removal proceedings, that their children will actually have a legal guardian and not be placed in foster care. So it's become very real, unfortunately. And so once again, I can't say strongly enough how very serious and important this endeavor is, that I feel very proud to be a member of a community that's considering various protections for immigrants, and really appreciate your time and consideration of the proposals we brought forth. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay. Comments from my fellow board members. We can do them one at a time. The resolution, item number 7, resolution in support of the Westchester County Legislature Immigrant Protection Act. We can do that one first. You have in front of you one slight change from the original version. It's only one word that was changed in the first whereas. It says, whereas the Village of Irvington previously adopted a resolution encouraging tolerance in our community and is currently considering several resolutions aimed at creating an open and safe community for all. This is just because we haven't done several resolutions already. The word that was there was several. So since we're doing this first, the only one that has preceded it wasn't several. But what did precede it was, and you can see this on our website, was the statement of tolerance. And then it was also a copy of Cuomo's letter with some hotline numbers for immigrants and others who do not feel safe. So that's the only reason that's changed. It's on the yellow part in your copies. I will just infer, before we read this and adopt it, I'll just ask if my colleagues have any comments about it, discussion about it.
Well, I do, in the sense that I just wanted to mention how important this is becoming in light of, we're talking about my sister's place, but what was the story? Was it in Texas? Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to create alt facts here, but the woman who came in to
Arizona.
Well, okay, the woman who came in because of domestic violence and ended up getting basically arrested and is going to be separated from her family. So that's just one story, but I'm sure that there'll be many more, unfortunately, like that. So to me, whatever we can do as a village board, as a community, individuals, it's really important to be taking these actions and taking a stand.
Any other?
Well, I'll just say, I feel a sense of urgency, given what's happened most recently. And I'm glad that we're getting this resolution, done today, and I'm pleased about our plans moving forward.
Agree, and I just want to build on what Mark said. I think there was an incident in Texas, and you probably know about this, where a woman was arrested in the courthouse when she went to get order protection, which is incredibly chilling.
Yes,
So-
there's also been an incident in Long Island a couple of weeks ago where someone who was availing themselves of the court system was picked up by ICE in the courthouse. So yeah, most unfortunate.
So this is, we simply have to do what we can do, and this is what we can do.
So one thing I want to point out that it just came to mind, sorry that I'm taking another little slot of time here, but the word from the county legislature is they're pretty sure they're going to have enough votes to pass this at the county level, but they're not sure they have enough votes to override an expected veto from the county executive. So again, that's something where beyond us as a board sending a letter to the legislature, it's really good to get some people involved, possibly in calling, spend the time calling the county exec's office and letting them know. That's probably, you know, the more the phone rings for them, the more they're going to realize that people are paying attention to this particular vote or this particular veto by him.
He's holding a town hall meeting this coming week, but apparently it's only open to people who live in White Plains.
Do you want to say that to the mic, just so people know?
So the county executive, Astorino, is holding, I actually don't know the date, soon. He's holding a town hall meeting this week only for residents of White Plains. So if you would like to communicate with his office, and I don't know why that would be, but if you know somebody from White Plains who's a resident who will go with you or take your message to him, that might be a good way to communicate.
I was in touch with Mary Jane Shimsky's office, and Steve Bass said that through March, and probably it won't be until April that this, they'll probably have committee meetings at the county level several times through March, and it might be by April that it's actually being voted on. I mean, I'm sure these timetables can change. But if somebody does need to know what we're referencing in terms of the county's actual proposed legislation, it's available. I have a copy here it's easy to get copies from Mary Jane Shimsky's office or elsewhere. But that's what we're referencing our support for.
Do we have that? Do you have the number for that, right?
Yes, it's the number that's in here, 9928, Resolution 9928. It's part of our resolved. If someone wanted to know how to get the entire thing, we can make more copies. There's a copy here. But it is a legislation proposed by the Board of Legislators in a committee. It's to come out of the committee, it's to pass the Board of Legislators, it's to go to the County Executive Astorino, who could veto it, and then go back to the Board of Legislators, who could override that if there was enough votes for it.
Now, is there a way to get from Mary Jane notification for when there's going to be public hearings? Because normally in committee and in the legislature itself,
Right.
there'll be
Certain times when,
public hearings that people can come in and speak, just like you do here.
the only information I had was during March, there would be committee meetings. So I'm sure that through Tom and some of your ways of communicating, if you get information that it would be helpful to have people express their point of view there. We can do the same if we get a date when that's happening. Yeah, just as Brian, when he was here, Mayor Smith was here, he told a very personal story about being concerned about protection of immigrants, the workers who work here. We're concerned about our workers, we're concerned about our residents, we're concerned about visitors, and we want everyone here to feel safe. And he expressed his total support in a letter to the public for the two resolutions that we're reading tonight. He's not here. If I could find his exact letter again, which I'm having trouble finding, many of you probably have it in your saved messages from the village. But please know that Mayor Smith is very supportive of the two resolutions we're discussing, and he will be back for the March 6th meeting, and he will be here to be part of the discussion on the policy resolution. So because this is a different kind of resolution than we normally do, and it has many levels of great importance to all of us, I felt it was symbolic for all of us to read part of this. So we will, and then when we get to the other one, we'll do the same thing. I'll start it out. This is called the Resolution in support of the Westchester County Legislature Immigrant Protection Act. So I'll read the first one. Whereas the Village of Irvington previously adopted a resolution encouraging tolerance in our community and is currently considering several resolutions aimed at creating an open and safe community for all. Mark?
Whereas trust in law enforcement is essential to public safety.
Whereas 44% of Latino Americans, including U.S. citizens, report that they are less likely to contact police because of potential immigration consequences.
Whereas the International Association of Police Chiefs, the Major Cities Chiefs Association, and the Police Executive Research Forum all oppose the cooperation of local police with federal immigration authorities if it undermines trust in local law enforcement.
Mark?
Whereas this concern extends not just to the village of Irvington, but to Westchester County as well. Now therefore be it
Resolved that the Village of Irvington endorses the immediate passage of Resolution 9928, the Immigrant Protection Act in the Westchester County Board of Legislatures, and
Further resolved that the Village of Irvington encourages all members of the county legislature to vote in favor of the Immigrant Protection Act.
And I'll read the last one. Further resolved that the Village of Irvington encourages County Executive Rob Astorino to sign the Immigrant Protection Act into law. So I'll make a motion to accept this resolution. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, this is passed. All right, the second resolution relates to driver's license. It's number 8 on your agenda. And just as we heard from some of those of you in the audience, we feel strongly that this is another important part of the whole process of keeping us safe here, keeping immigrants, undocumented immigrants, others, everyone safe, and it's a very practical approach, something many states have done. So it's called Resolution in Support of Issuing Driver's License to New York State Residents Regardless of Immigrant Status. So I'll start it off. Whereas many New York residents are denied access to driver's license solely because of their immigrant status, and
whereas these New York residents urgently need these licenses in order to lawfully drive in to their places of work, buy groceries and essential supplies, take their children to school, travel to appointments, attend religious worship, or get to the hospital and other medical facilities in case of emergencies. And
whereas licensing all drivers improves public safety by ensuring that everyone driving on our roads is knowledgeable of our vehicle and traffic laws through the licensing process and is operating a registered, inspected, and insured vehicle, and
Whereas licensed drivers who become involved in traffic incidents are more likely to aid police and emergency workers and to engage in the exchange of necessary information with other motorists, and those who witness incidents and crimes will be more comfortable reporting them to the police and cooperating in investigations.
And Mark.
whereas allowing immigrants to obtain a driver's license regardless of immigration status would mean an increase in revenue for New York State from license, registration, and other associated fees and taxes, and
whereas removing immigration status barriers to driver's licenses will assist in the reduction of accidents involving uninsured motorists, leading to lower auto insurance premiums for all New Yorkers, and
Whereas there are 12 states across the United States that already provide access to licenses for all residents, regardless of immigration status, including our adjacent state of Connecticut and Vermont to the north. Now therefore be it
resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Irvington express our collective desire for safety and security for all of our residents, and further, our commitment to pursuing the common good by ensuring shared resources such as roads and highways be accessed and utilized responsibly and safely, and
further resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Irvington recognize immigration law to be a federal concern and enforcement a drain on limited local resources, and
Further resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Irvington call upon the New York State Legislature and Governor Cuomo to promptly ensure the issuance of driver's licenses to all New York State residents regardless of immigration status, and
Further resolved that the village clerk shall forward a true copy of this resolution duly endorsed to reflect its enactment by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Irvington to the Executive Chamber of Governor Andrew Cuomo, Assembly Member Thomas Avenanti, and Senator Andrea Stewart Cousins. So make a motion. Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor? Opposed?
By the way, I'm hoping that we don't have it on that first resolution, but it should say that it gets forwarded to all the legislatures and
let's
county
see.
executive.
Decided.
But I mean,
We
that's,
can do that.
I know.
Yeah, right. All right.
So I just wanted to make a comment that, just to thank all of the residents who are here, who've come forward, and who brought forward this with such passion and involvement for taking action. I also want to thank David Imamura, who's not here, for the lead that he took in trying to fashion this stuff, and also to Mary Ann, our village attorney, for the research and help she's done.
I second that. Third and fourth that. It takes a community to step up and put our resources and thinking together. We hope we represent the will of a lot of people in this village. So I thank you all very much. All right, on to the next thing on the agenda. Why did I think
It's time to clear the decks.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next is lease and operating agreement with the Irvington Union Free School District for the farmers market use.
We're going to read this.
We're not going to read all this now, but we're going to ask Mary Ann if this is the same.
It's word for word the same as the one we picked last year. It's fine, except the dates were changed. Otherwise, it's word for word.
Okay, so this is the farmers market, part of the village, and
It's the agreement with the village and the school district to let the school property be used for the farmers market.
yes, their parking lot is the main thing. That's nice, and it's something that.
The indoor market as well is included?
Say it again?
The indoor
Yes, yes, what about the,
included in this?
is the indoor market included in this resolution?
I don't think so. I think
Because this
that's-
is new.
You know, I got,
It has all the insurance pieces.
like I said, this was not changed at all from before, but I know last year, I don't think that they envisioned the indoor market.
Last year, they had one at Thanksgiving.
No,
No, they
actually,
had more than one.
Oh, they had
It
several.
was 2 years
this
ago.
just covers this, the parking lot.
Okay, yes, because it says Main Street, so I guess make a little note that if they ask us about the other one, we'll.
Yeah, I don't remember how that was handled.
Right, okay, all right. I'm not gonna say it's not our problem. I guess it's not. All right, resolve to approve a lease and operating agreement between the Village of Irvington and the Irvington Union Free School District for the use of the Main Street School parking lot, by the Irvington Farmers Market, and to authorize the village administrator to execute said agreement. I'll make a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I know Larry's not here, but maybe we could make an action item to just ask him to research what happened with the indoor market.
Okay, right. Okay, the next item,
Sorry, Larry.
this is many, many pages here. It's a fee of $2. Okay. The next item is approval to extend Hermit's Road to include a cul-de-sac at the southern end. So Mary Ann, I guess you're up again to explain that?
Yeah, this relates to the village's purchase of the lot at the end of Herman's Road that I mentioned before. The purchase was I brought a picture so you can see it, of everything on this side of the yellow line, which is mainly vacant space, but there was a small cul-de-sac there. and I had it conveyed in two separate parcels, the main open spacing and then the cul-de-sac. And because we wanted the cul-de-sac to be part of the public road, somehow these things tend to get lost, and we don't know whether something's a public road or not a public road. So this resolution would just clarify that this cul-de-sac is a part of Herman's Road. And then it'll be in the record, and then 50 years from now.
Somebody will know. That's thinking ahead. Is there comments or discussion?
This is independent of any parking area. Like, this is just purely kind of dotting the i's and crossing the t's, right, in terms of...
Well, it's making it part of the street. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can. The village owns it now. You can do what you want, but you're saying it's part of the street, and there still is the understanding that you may use either that and the land adjacent to it for parking. I mean, that was part
Passive,
of the
access to passive.
Yeah.
Right, right. The other thing it does is, well, since it's a public road, it gives the house the house that can be built on the other lot, the street access it needs to have road
Oh, so,
frontage
yeah.
on the public. So
Yeah.
it's in everybody's interest.
Yeah, okay, that seems reasonable.
Any further discussion from anyone?
Let's do it.
Okay, I'll read it. Whereas the deed dated February 2nd, 2017, a 3.22 acre parcel at the southern end of Hermit's Road was conveyed to the village, 0.28 acres of which is described as right-of-way, and whereas the village intends that the, quote, right-of-way be a cul-de-sac at the southern end, and a portion of Hermit's Road, now therefore be it resolved that Hermit's Road be extended to include the 0.28 acre right-of-way shown on the attached plat. I guess that's the one that you have there, right? And that the village zoning map dated November 25th, 2015, be amended to show it as part of Hermit's Road. I'll make the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
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 Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, am I talking into your bad ear from this?
Yes, it's all bad. Okay, the next one.
Motion on that?
I just, yeah, we did. It was seconded, I proposed it, Mark seconded it, and
We all voted.
we all voted for it. Okay. Now, Brenda, you're up on this one. Acceptance of a donation of a statue.
In the Rotunda Village Hall, there's been a lovely statue. It's called the Flight of the Terns, and it's been loaned to the village since 2012 by Mr. Robert Pouch, and now he has donated it to the town as a permanent asset of the town. So I'm going to read something about it. Maybe take note next time you're up there. Maybe we'll find maybe a better spot for it. But it's up here where the long table is on the top.
The little,
Alcove.
I took a
Yeah,
picture.
it's in one of the alcoves. So it was originally commissioned by Robert Pouch, President and Chairman of the Board of Barber Steamship Lines in 1979. And as you'll probably know, Mr. Pouch served as a trustee for the village for many years, for in excess of 16 years.
yes, he was a trustee, yes.
For a long time. It's cast in bronze, and it's mounted on a teak pedestal, and it was originally on display at the entrance to the headquarters of Barber Steamship Lines. That was down at 17 Battery Place in downtown Manhattan. It was there from 1980 to 1995. So it's a beautiful piece.
Thank you for reading the background. Yes, Jen.
Are we, just detailed housekeeping questions, does acceptance of this donation oblige us to always display it in perpetuity?
No,
Okay. Does it,
not to my knowledge, no.
okay, and does it oblige us to insure it?
We would insure it as it's a separate rider.
Okay.
Yes, I'm very thankful. We see former trustee
In our
Couch,
assets.
many years coming to the Veterans Day and Memorial Day services in the village, and we thank him for his long service to the village and for this lovely gift.
It is.
I'll read this. Acceptance of donation of a statue. Be it resolved to accept the generous donation of the statue, The Turns, in December 2016, from Robert H. Couch. I'll make the motion in a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Resolution, appointment of intermediate account clerk. Is that something else you're going to fill us in on?
Yeah. As you all are aware, Eileen Colantuna retired back in January. And we have a vacancy that we've interviewed for. We've canvassed the Westchester County list. I'm very happy that we would like to extend an offer to Andrea Cezio. And I'll add that she comes with very nice qualifications and that she scored 100% on the examination. And it's a challenging exam. I really have not seen anyone score 100 in my recollection. So she's number one on the list. And she's coming to join us.
Great. Any discussion here?
No, just good. Good. Quick action, that's great.
Okay. Whereas the current Westchester County Civil Service list for intermediate account clerk has been canvassed, resolved to make the following appointment to the office of the clerk treasurer effective March 6, 2017, for a probationary period of a minimum of 12 weeks to a maximum of 52 weeks. As you said, Andrea Ascenzio, rate $52,049.95, and status intermediate account clerk. I'll make the motion and a second, please.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. All right, that takes us quickly to reports of board standing committees and officers. Mark, you have anything?
Well, just that I know from speaking with the various boards that our committees, everyone's looking for additional volunteer help. So the Environmental Conservation Board are looking for one or two people to get involved in their process. The Tree Commission is looking for one or two people to get involved in reviewing tree permits for the village. And I guess that is about it, because I have mentioned the activities of the Traffic Committee earlier in terms of looking at the Walk Safe campaign and the handout. You mentioned the handout of the, maybe you can hold that up, just the handout of this guy here.
Oh, yes, this
reflectors.
is all part of that, yes.
Yeah, so that's, again, that's just a reminder for those who tuned in late. These reflectors are available in Village Hall, at the police department, or at the rec center. And that's my report.
Okay. Trustee Monkey.
The Irvington Woods Committee is excited to announce a save the date for their wine and cheese fundraiser at the O'Hara Nature Center on Sunday, June 4th. Please put it on your calendars. They also are excited to announce the Teenscape program is running again. Angela Thornton and Mike Donato will be the co-directors this year.
Do they have to apply by a certain date to get into that?
Rick, has it started already?
I don't think it's, I don't think registration for that is
We'll
started.
certainly call Rick and ask for Angela, and she can give you more details. It's going to be 2 separate 3-week sessions, which they ran last year to very good success.
Great program. Anything else? Okay. Janice?
Nothing for mine.
Okay. I had a meeting with the Theater Commission last night, and they have a monthly meeting. The next one is March 21st. They've got a lot of projects going. They're going to start showing films again, not a film series, not a film festival, but an actual film. And there's a French film. I could look up the name of it, but it's not until March 10th when this is starting. But that was very popular, and they're going to keep doing the festivals, but they're also going to show particular films. We talked about how the French students at the high school should come to the French movie with subtitles. There's a famous French actress that everybody loves. I don't know anything about it. What's that? I'll look it up.
Yeah, that's the one that would be for...
Yeah, that's it.
Isabelle Huppert.
That's it. That's it,
Alice
everybody
the
knows
movie.
of me, okay. Anyway, that
I'm
will
gonna
be
see
that
it.
actress.
I really want to see it.
Okay,
Yeah,
good. Tell their friends. They're excited about doing that. They do a great job. I mean, they have the film festivals and now just the films itself. This other thing that, very interesting group that will be coming to the theater, it's called See the Wish. And See the Wish, I've been discussing this with Greg Allen because it's a theater group that gathers kids. They've written songs, and it's a message about anti-bullying, self-esteem, very much in sync with our diversity group foundation and IASC. And they may, they've committed to also coming to Father's Day to do a little preview of what they're going to do at the theater in the fall. So there's a lot of connections here, and it sounds very exciting for the issues that we're very passionate about here in Irvington. And the farmers market is the 2nd and 4th, did I tell you last time? The next farmers market, let's see. Saturday, February 25th, right. You keep me on target here. So these are indoor markets, but there is so much stuff there. And of course, the fish guy is there, for those of you who wait for weeks to see him. So I encourage people, it's at the Main Street Schools, starts at 9, I think they stay till 1, I'm gonna say. So that's basically, my highway report. Sorry, Greg. We had storms number 8 and 9 of this season. On February 9th, there were 10 inches. That was storm number 8. And we had storm number 9 on the 12th of February. That was Sunday. It's called Freezing Rain, Sleet, 1 inch. Ooh, we love that, right? So they've obviously been busy with that. They are doing maintenance of winter equipment, snow removal on Main Street and side streets. I'm going to say it again, they're still recycling Christmas trees, if you're still hanging on to your Christmas tree. Get the fire department, if you are. Repaired, rebuilt 2 catch basins, and repaired the roadway damages of winter storms, Winter Storm 1 on Hamilton Road and on West Clinton West Clinton Avenue Extension. Where's West Avenue Extension?
Is that on the other side of South Buckeye?
I would say so.
Okay.
It's just like a
Oh,
dead-end
right,
half
that little
block.
tiny, got it, okay. That's a name, good. And filling potholes. And I'm sure the water department is busy, but I don't seem to have gotten an email from our wonderful Jim Englishby, but we know he's out there doing what he needs to do. Thank you, Jim. Okay, anything else from the village administrator? Oh, no, he's not here. The clerk treasurer?
Nothing further?
And the village attorney.
Well, only, as you may have picked up, the village now is the proud owner of an extra 3 acre.
Yes.
parcel at the end.
Yes.
I joined the village, open space there, and, ended up being a good settlement for the village.
Yes, yes.
And then, wait, one other thing. Brenda pointed out to me that actually, that the last time you did resolve to have these public hearings, even though I said you don't need time. So why don't you just
Say it's a resolution?
No, have a resolution just calling for the public hearing
Oh, okay.
for the local law amending Chapter 9 and the local
Okay.
law amending Chapter 213.
Okay, so I say, I'm
You can just-
making a resolution to have a public hearing to amend Chapter 9. I make the motion, do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moved, right. And you want me to make a motion to have a public hearing to consider a local law amending Chapter 213 of the Village Code? Okay, so moved, do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Okay. Yeah, it's official. All right, is there any other business to cover in our little list here? Review of action items. I think you just had one thing you wanted Larry,
For FYI, I think it was just to find out what they did with the farmer's market to go inside.
okay, okay. Yeah, right. Is there some communication we need to discuss with them about the indoor use of Main Street School?
Main Street School.
Or the farmer's market?
Okay.
Okay.
For next one.
Right. And the only other thing is we are having an executive session regarding volunteer personnel matters. So, do I actually adjourn this?
We have a motion for an executive session.
Oh, can I'd like to make a motion to have an executive session regarding volunteer personnel matter. I'll make the
Second.
motion. Second.
Aye.
Okay. And we're going to actually have that upstairs, as I understand, physically. Yeah. Okay, so
Okay.
we're adjourned. Do I need to make a motion to adjourn? Yes.
Are we adjourned, John?
Yeah, okay, good.
Before or after the
We're
executive
adjourned.
session?